If you had 24 hours in Hong Kong, what would you do? Victoria Peak? Dim Sum? Big Buddha? Sure, that seems normal, but I'm not normal. Hong Kong is one of the greatest cocktail cities on the planet, so I have one thing on my mind. Go to as many of the best bars as I can in one day. Ladies and gentlemen, please do not attempt this yourself. I am a trained professional with an extremely high alcohol tolerance, and also a fucking idiot. Please drink responsibly. The first stop of the mission is to Mostly Harmless, a super chill, unpretentious bar and a wonderful way to start the day. The focus here is on farm-to-glass cocktails, basing their menu on trips to local farmers markets. The menu, which gets written on the wall in Sharpie, along with the names of every guest that walks in the door, changes constantly based on what's available. The staff here are super friendly. The act of writing down everyone's name on the wall is an awesome icebreaker and a great hospitality move. This is one of those places that puts a smile on your face the moment you walk in the door, before you even taste one of the amazing drinks. I think this might be the perfect spot to get my day started. Good vibes all around. Bar Leone, one of Hong Kong's newest openings, is classic Italian all the way. Simplicity at its finest. No fancy machinery, no molecular magic, just straightforward, perfectly executed, classic-inspired Italian food and drink. A daiquiri riff that uses Italian tomato water, an espresso martini sweetened with biscotti liqueur, a whiskey sour made with olive oil, and of course, numerous different Negroni variations. Food is on point as well. You are legally required to eat the mortadella sandwich. If you don't, I will call the cops. You won't regret it. An escape to Rome right in the heart of Central. I'd put all the money in the world on Bar Leone being on Asia's 50 Best in 2024. The whole route and schedule of my 24-hour layover was meticulously planned in order to be at Koa 15 minutes before opening, in order to beat the lineups. Well, that wasn't good enough. Luckily, they have an app that messages you when a seat is available, so I'm putting my name on the list, and I'm going to the old man. Former number one in Asia, the Old Man is a cocktail bar inspired by one of the great alcoholics of all time, Ernest Hemingway. You'd expect a drinks menu inspired by Hemingway to be mostly classic leaning, but the technique involved in some of these cocktails is anything but. Amazing flavors using all the tricks in the book. There's some seriously weird and wonderful outside-the-box thinking on this drink menu, and I'm all for it. I don't know enough about Hemingway to connect the dots on some of these recipes or references, but it doesn't matter. Every drink is delicious, and something that makes me question what I already know about flavor. A major reason I set up this layover is to go to Koa. I need to see with my own eyes why it has been named 3 times back-to-back-to-back winner of the best bar in Asia. Hong Kong's Temple of Agave, dedicated to all things tequila, mezcal, and the flavors of Mexico. One look at the back bar and it's easy to see the dedication to the spirit. 40 plus pages of agave spirit, categorized like a wine list based on different regions, terroirs, agave varietals. This is an education, a masterclass of agave on par with what you'd find anywhere in Mexico. Cocktails lean heavily into savory Mexican flavors. I'm not a huge fan of savory cocktails, but these were absolutely on point. Their clarified Bloody Maria was actually not that bad. And coming from me, the #1 certified all-time hater of the Bloody Mary, that is quite a high compliment. The other cocktails, also magnificent. We're about as far as you could physically be from Mexico, yet Koa feels like it was taken straight out of Jalisco. Is this the best bar in Asia? It's hard for me to say. I haven't been to every bar in Asia yet, but I can clearly see why it's been held in such high regard for so long. Everything Koa aims to achieve is done so with the utmost quality. Any city would be lucky to have a bar like Koa. Quinary is the first ever Hong Kong bar to make the global top 50 over a decade ago, and they're still going strong. It's rare for a bar to be ranked so high for so long, and when you step through that door, it does not take long to understand why people keep coming back. Perfectly executed molecular cocktails by staff that are clearly working their asses off. It's very difficult to execute at this high of a level with a space this large, but the team here is like a well-oiled machine. Their Earl Grey Martini, which is not a martini, but that's a rant for another day, is one of the most iconic drinks around. It basically put flavored airs on the map. Quinary has been a leader in the Hong Kong drink scene for a very long time, and I do not see that stopping anytime soon. The Savory Project? Why would a guy who says he isn't a fan of savory cocktails go to a bar called the Savory Project? Listen here, bucko. When smart people who know what they're talking about tell me I need to check out a bar, I listen to them. And the Savory Project was a very frequent recommendation. And it's the new opening from the guys at Koa, who clearly know what they're doing when it comes to savory cocktails. Except now, they're free from the restraints of a Mexican-inspired bar and are free to experiment further. And the results are quite impressive. Beef salad cocktails, biryani, barbecue vegetables, these are concepts you rarely see in liquid form. The Savory Project is a flavor adventure you won't find anywhere else. Inject this bar straight into my veins. The Pontiac is 90s nostalgia all the way. Bras hanging from the ceiling like Coyote Ugly, a menu that looks like a copy of Now That's What I Call Music, and a soundtrack that makes me feel like I'm in high school all over again. And a tattoo station in the back? Hell yes. I don't know if that's a permanent fixture, but I don't care. It doesn't get much better than this. Free from pretentiousness, a place that champions inclusivity and love for anyone that walks through the door. The Pontiac is the type of bar that you will be at every week. Penicillin is all about sustainability, forward thinking. Use every ingredient to its maximum potential and then squeeze out a little bit more. Nothing goes to waste. White chocolate used for infusions gets repurposed into garnishes, old champagne becomes vinegar, and pastries that would normally be thrown out turned into wine. With a sustainability concept this intense, the potential for failure is extremely high. The cocktails here are on another level. Every drink executed masterfully. They have an entire room called the Stinky Room dedicated to in-house fermentation and experimentation. The knowledge on display here could fill volumes. It's a good thing my stop here was at the end of the night, otherwise I don't think I'd make it to another bar. I'd be posted up here for hours. The type of place where an absolute nerd like me can soak up insane amounts of knowledge, and others who couldn't care less about the process and the tech can just show up and have a great time. There's been a major push in recent years for bars and restaurants to become more sustainable, and Penicillin is a shining example of what can be done. I hope these videos help you understand why I love cocktail bars and bartending so much. Front of house and back, all rolled into one. You host the guest, but also have a creative outlet to showcase what makes your spot unique. If I'm serving beer or wine, I'm just pouring what someone else made, but an original cocktail is wholly unique to the bar that you're at. Beer is hops and barley, wine is just grapes, but the possibilities of a cocktail are endless. Don't get me wrong, I love beer, and I encourage you to drink whatever makes you happy. But for me, cocktails are always going to be the most interesting. New techniques are being discovered and invented, new faces joining the industry bring new ideas, and new products are introduced regularly that change what can be done with a cocktail. And the competitive bar scene drives innovation and the desire to improve. Things like 50 Best Bars, or Diageo World Class, or the countless other spirit-driven competitions that force bartenders to think outside the box and reach new heights every day. The experience of a cocktail bar is everything you could ever want from a night out, all rolled into one. It's art, it's a show, it's a social gathering, it's an education on flavor, it's a party, it's